What we are seeing in the market right now is nothing other than the early stages of the parabolic stage of the bull run actually playing out. We're seeing tokens actually start to have 20, 25% days, 100% weeks. And of course, we are seeing new launches do multiples in a single day. So without further ado, let's jump into the coins that I think are must holds and where money is going to rotate. So first and foremost, I'm going to go over current positions, where I think the money's going to move next, and how each narrative is going to play out and where the liquidity is going to rotate so we can maximize the rest of the month of September as well as October and November to close out the year. So without further ado, let's jump into it.
Before we get started, just look at the amount of green on the majors here, on the daily, the weekly, the monthly. I mean, things are really starting to shape up, and the people who said there wouldn't be an alt season this time around, I think they might be about to eat that sentiment. But before we jump in, guys, be sure if you're enjoying the content here on the channel, like the video down below and subscribe to the channel for more. Every single day here on In the Game, we have you covered top to bottom, everything you need to win in the market, and a lot of our tokens are definitely winning right now. So be sure to like and subscribe down below. And if you are still looking for a place to trade this market during this bull run, I would highly recommend Blowfin. First and foremost, we have some of the industry leading bonuses down below in the description. You get up to $1,000 bonus and $9,000 in USDT rewards if you do jump down below, sign up for Blowfin, and start trading. They are literally giving away so many incentives for new users, and no KYC. You can trade from anywhere. There's no restriction. You can be in the United States or any other jurisdiction, and Blowfin will cater to you as a customer. So be sure to check out Blowfin down below in the description. And let's just jump into it. You know, right now on the daily, we are seeing tokens absolutely flying. Obviously, Aster, which we're going to talk in depth about in this video. But we see Black Hole bouncing off the lows, up 23% today. We see Immutable X up 18% today. We see Playable Games, an Avalanche ecosystem gaming project that we still like, up 14%. We see AVAX over $34. So a lot of tokens here that we are very bullish on are absolutely ripping. And this is really just the preface. Look, I've seen some crypto Twitter personalities and some people out there saying, well, this really does feel like a top. We just got rate cuts. This is not the top. And you will start to feel that pressure, that pressure cooker in your stomach when you feel like, okay, the market's a little bit overheated here. We are nowhere near that point in time. Ethereum still hasn't hit all-time highs. Solana still hasn't hit all-time highs. We haven't seen that froth in the market. And like we saw last week on my exit strategy video, we've only had like 2 of the 25 top indicators hit this cycle. So for me, I do not think the top is in. Becker says here, the top will not be in when everyone is saying the top is in. And that is so true. There might be 0.1% of people that will call the top. The top will be when your normie friends are posting coin pics on their Instagrams or their Twitters or Facebooks and saying like BNB is at resistance here. Literally lower your IQ until that point in time. Just, we've been saying for a while, buy and hold. And that is really paying off at this point in time. Crypto God John says the best macro trader he knows says 180K Bitcoin by end of the year. I don't know about that target. That's another 50% up on Bitcoin by itself. If that happens, altcoins are going to go absolutely ballistic to close out this year. And I think above else, like we said on our exit strategy last week, you have to have a plan. You know, your majors that you're holding. And we've talked about a lot on this channel, and we'll talk about more in just a second. But, you know, stuff like BTC, Hype, Sol, ETH, etc. Have a couple of meme plays. Have different scenarios and different niches and narratives. And, I mean, we're seeing a lot of these play out at this point in time. First and foremost, Hyperliquid all-time highs. So, once again, this almost seems like a weekly occurrence. Big congratulations if you've been holding Hyperliquid throughout this cycle, because this thing just continues to climb. And, I mean, $70 in the short term, $75, $80. I think those are the next tangible price targets here, and I don't see any reason why Hyperliquid won't climb to those levels. And then also Avalanche. Man, I mean, this was a trade that took some patience, but buying between those $19 and $23 levels for literally months on end. If we look at this 1 year chart on Avalanche, it is painful. We got up to 50 last December, but then for the most part, we traded between really as low as 16 and then as high as at points $25. We had that breakout, and I mentioned here on the channel, once we eclipse that $30 level, I think there's nothing but just clear air until $50. I think $50 is the next price target here for something like Avalanche. And for those of you who still don't see what's going on the Avalanche network, AVAX is building rails for global payments. PayPal USD is now live through Avalanche. They also just brought in a Korea country-backed stablecoin to the blockchain as of today. So they are going global. They are working with every major institution and bank and protocol that you can imagine. So Avalanche is absolutely crushing the Korean won-backed stablecoin, which was KRW1, which also launched in the last 24 hours. So this network effect that has been cooking throughout the cycle between memes, SocialFi, games, institutions, RWA, etc., BlackRock building on AVAX. We have digital asset treasuries buying $1 billion worth of Avalanche. And it feels like some of that money came in today, because if we look at this daily chart, up 14%, really has a lot of momentum here. So shout out to anyone who's in this Avalanche trade as well. But in a minute, we're going to talk about where I think the liquidity is going to continue to flow, because you want to be able to be placed in all of these different narratives to maximize your upside during these times, because we are seeing narratives pop up at this point in time, and you want to be positioned as the progression of the cycle goes on. So we'll talk about that here in just a second. But really the main bulk of the middle of the show here, I want to dive into the latest Binance crime on chain. And it's not really crime. There's a meme out there where the guy's like, I am not a fan of corruption unless I am involved in the corruption, right? So at least if you bought Aster, you are absolutely crushing it. Let's just go look at the daily chart here. Aster is sitting at 69 cents. And right now, this has definitely been the talk of crypto over the last 24 hours, up 279% on the daily here. But if we look, this thing launched its first candle at 2 cents. A lot of people started buying and posting about it in these, 14, 20 cent ranges. I made my first buy here at about 19 cents on the chart. We're almost up 4x on our position since we got in on this yesterday. And also, whenever we talked about it on the show, which it was a couple hours after launch, this was at 30 cents. And now anyone who even bought after watching yesterday's video is up almost 2.5x on their position. So this has been a crazy win for most people in crypto. If you took this trade, you are in profit, because this chart is nothing but up. And if we look at the market cap here at only a $5.59 billion market cap, and look what everyone is comparing this to, and it's not completely apples to apples, but the one major comparison here in the market is Hyperliquid. The diluted market cap of Aster is still 10x lower and is basically 15x lower than what we're seeing from the circulating market cap of Hyperliquid. Now, I am not one of the people like this gentleman here who thinks that it's going to flip Hyperliquid. I really don't believe that. But Aster so far has been one of those trades where it's easy to convince yourself you weren't early enough, not as good as Hyperliquid, etc. But while you're tweeting or thinking about that, it's just still going up in price. And that's what happens when Binance gets behind these tokens. As we see here, this guy thinks that it's going to flip Hyperliquid. Look, I'll be realistic. I don't think that's going to be the case unless 𝗧𝗥𝗔𝗗𝗘 really does something to try to take Binance to the next level and really bring down Hyperliquid. But it's the only DEX with 24/7 US stock perps. So you can trade perps on Aster 24/7. It's a pretty crazy mechanism. They have a yield-bearing stablecoin and function similar to Ethena's stablecoin with additional yield based on activity. We know 𝗧𝗥𝗔𝗗𝗘 is a cutthroat guy. I mean, with FTX in the past and everything like that, we know he will do anything and go to all links for Binance to win. CZ, aka 𝗧𝗪𝗏, is the only backer in a majority control, and he's literally been shilling this on his Twitter. This wins retail. 90% of retail know what Binance is. And I actually would agree with this point. So, like I said, I don't think this flips hype. I mean, just that would be absolutely absurd for it to actually catch up to Hyperliquid. But at this point in time, when I go out, or all my friends know I'm in crypto full time. You know, founder of Nexus Labs, founder of TTOO. They know I do the YouTube stuff. They know I'm in the trenches. I'm terminally online, looking at what coins launch and if it's, you know, worth getting into, etc. And they all know what Binance is. Nobody knows what Hyperliquid is. The normies do not know what Hyperliquid is. I was at even somewhere a few weeks ago or a month ago, my fiance and I were at like a farmer's market type of thing. And this guy started talking about crypto just randomly. And he kind of made an analogy. And I'm like, I'm very familiar with, you know, crypto, so I understand that. And he goes, what do you think about XRP or what coins do you like? I said Hyperliquid. And he said, what is that? And like most people just don't know what Hyperliquid is, but everyone really, for the most part, knows what Binance is. They're such a big entity and it's invisible to almost all new flow and participant. Hyperliquid controls on-chain traders, but Binance definitely has retail control. The majority of hype is in the hands of dorky CT whales. That's a newt point. I think that's he's getting into some semantics down here. But for the most part, I agree with a lot of these things. And as to why I think that Aster is actually going to continue to at least eat into some of the market share as far as price that Hyperliquid has gotten. Some people forget that CZ pumped peanut to 2.6 billion, and Aster at this point, whenever this was tweeted, was 950 million. Right now, as we talked about, Aster is sitting at $1.1 billion market cap. He destroyed Luna. He destroyed FTX, and it also has the 24/7 stock trading, which is very, very bullish. You can also see this will be launching on Binance. And when has any exchange ever given you the opportunity CZ screaming in your face and saying, look, this is Binance's Hyperliquid, and we're only letting people buy. Right now, you can only buy this token on Aster, the native DEX. So they're doing a massive user onboarding play. So if this app actually sticks and people trade volume on it, you can only imagine the traction it's going to get. But you're getting an opportunity to buy before the retail, aka on Binance. This is showing the metadata on Binance, and you can see that this is already on the back end as a listing. So now ask yourself this: Binance users get an opportunity to buy CZ's new project. Are they taking it? I think they definitely will. For the people that aren't terminally online and like, you know, the hardcore crypto degens just getting involved with everything on chain, we're the only people involved in this so far. So I think there's a very, very bullish case. And you can see CZ is letting you be an early investor in their own DEX before it's listed on their exchange, and they solidify it as a top 2 DEX in the world. So the platform has strong PvE plus community that made it together. All of this culminates. I do think there's a very good case that this continues to climb above $1, above $1.50. Really, my bull case would be somewhere around $4, which just on a price projection standpoint is about a 5.5x. I don't even think that's too crazy. That would put the FDV at about $22 billion, and that would put the the circulating even just around $5-6 billion. And that would only really be 4% of the current market cap of BNB. So all in all, I still think there's a lot of opportunity with this token, especially as retail starts to learn that this is basically Binance, but for decentralized purposes. And we all know CZ's cutthroat. So like I said, if you feel late to this trade, maybe wait for a dip. But I did make my initial buys at 20 cents. We gave this to the community over at TTOO and Nexus. You can get involved, by the way, just by buying a TTOO NFT, or you can subscribe to Nexus and get similar information for just $49 a month as well. So you can check those out in the description down below. But for the most part, I wouldn't be surprised if this continues to climb upwards for good or bad reasons. You can hate BNB chain. You can think that CZ's artificially pumping this, but who cares? Like, aren't you in it to, ride up the upside? And even if they artificially pump this to $1, $2 plus, as long as we're making profits on it, that's all that matters. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on Aster. But otherwise, what we're seeing play out in the market right now is hype season, all-time highs. AVAX season, absolutely pumping from those $23 levels. Aster season, the new incumbent in the market. Sol season, right around that 250 mark. And the one we haven't talked about is Pengu. Pengu is really climbing those 2.7 levels that we were buying at, the 2 cents and the 2.7 cent level. That was a great buy point. It's almost up, from that point, almost 50% since those levels, now hovering at about 4 cents, 3.9 cents on the current price. I do think that Pengu will continue to play out. But for me, the next three that I'm looking at, 𝗕𝗨𝗙𝗘𝗏, and 𝗬𝗎, and mainly 𝗬𝗎. If we go look, and honestly, 𝗕 is starting to also move a little bit. We see 𝗕 up 7% on the daily, so catching a little momentum in the AI niche. Obviously, I think the winners in AI are going to absolutely crush, and 𝗕 is at the forefront of that. But right now, I'm more focused on 𝗬𝗎. 𝗬𝗎 looks like it is ready to break out, sitting at $3.95. And we go look over here. The chart for 𝗬𝗎 dominance looks cheeky. So this is definitely looking very, very nice. And I do think that 𝗬𝗎 is on the cusp of a breakout. And all-time highs are only $5. So if we break through that all-time high in the coming weeks, I think that's going to be a major, major trade. And of course, I think right now liquidity will dominate within majors, okay? This is really not the time yet to go to the very bottom of your watch list. You can see these are the coins that are down on the monthly, the weekly, etc. These are the ones that aren't catching much of a bid yet, but I think you need to have your watch list set. I think stuff like 𝗪𝗏𝗏, WAGMI Games, Playable Games has good pumpability at these levels, and really 𝗪𝗏𝗏 is one I'm really watching at these low levels. But right now, if you're loaded up on your top plays, that's where I think the money, look at the charts. The money's sticking with the majors right now. So I think major exposure, some Dino coins mixed with some new coins. Right now, I think XRP, AVAX, those types of coins are really catching momentum. And on top of that, stuff like BNB, Sol just hit 250 as we're recording this. So it's definitely a majors run right now. And there will be a time where this flows into lower market cap coins, and you're going to want to be ready for that. Stuff like gaming, stuff like AI, RWA. We see Jiho here hinting at buybacks on the Ronin token. Ronin is one of the very few gaming tokens that I'm still convicted in and hold. He says Axie and Ronin treasuries were set up over 4 years ago in preparations for this. And as we can see here, buybacks are the number one narrative. The green one over here, subcategory price performance up 70% this year. Look, it's crazy, but the buyback meta is dominant, which also leads back to Hyperliquid, 𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏, WAGMI Games, stuff like Athena, stuff like Aster. 𝗧𝗥𝗔𝗗𝗘 is going to do buybacks on this token with platform revenue. So I'm definitely very privy on coins that are doing buybacks at this point in time, and just making sure my feet are planted in all these different niches between gaming, RWA, perps, buybacks, DeFi, etc. So I think we are very well positioned, and the rotations I'm looking at next, probably 𝗬𝗎, 𝗕, then 𝗬𝗓, as 𝗬𝗓's taking a little bit of a dip this week just because it had so much good momentum, and it feels like their season kind of hit a little bit of a wall, but I really do expect this to kick back up. But right now, 𝗬𝗎 is the next on my list that I think can break out. Once it gets back above that $4.20 level, which it's on the cusp. If we just go look at that price action right now at $3.95, I think this is ready to explode. And as mentioned, price discovery after $5 as we see the all-time high here sitting at $4.96. So a lot of good stuff going on in the market. And if you've been waiting on this time period for years, okay, like we haven't seen a real alt season since last fall with some coins. And for some gaming coins, for example, we haven't seen a real alt season since March 2024. So this is a great time in the market. Take advantage of it. Make sure you have a strategy. As we talked about in the exit strategy video and at the beginning of this one, I'm all in on majors. I have my small caps, like I mentioned, stuff like Xborg, for example, stuff like Neural AI, mid-cap AI coins, and new trades with Aster. But otherwise, I'm pretty much 70% into the major coins right now, which, as you can see on the screen, is where the activity is. Things don't always, history doesn't always repeat, but it rhymes. And I'm going to make sure we take advantage on the rotations throughout this cycle. So guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Are you bullish on Aster? Do you think that the crime trade is going to pay off from Binance? What coins in the majors are you holding? Did you buy AVAX? Did you buy Solana? Are you in on Hyperliquid? Do you think 𝗬𝗎's going to run next? I'd love to hear all your thoughts in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys to close out the week tomorrow. As always, like, subscribe, play well, my friends, trade responsibly, and of course, stay bullish, my friends.